Well, we have more people coming, but.
I thought I was gonna be like, there's a
I live in Mount Where do you live?
I don't live there, I work there.
Oh, you work there. Where do you work at?
I work at Cornerstone Residential. So it's right on Main Street,
Oh, like by the Arctic Circle?
right across the street from my
Okay. I. Um. I live over, so on the other side of Bountiful, like
Oh,
on
gotcha.
the Woods Cross. Bountiful North Salt Lake border.
So,
Hello, Kyson, how are you?
good, how are you?
Good. I'm just fixing this. So what did you get to attend the last one? Were you there on Zoom or no?
No,
Okay.
so I just got the invitation literally,
Okay.
and so I thought today was the first one, but from the list of it, it's not.
Yesterday or Tuesday was the first one.
Oh,
It was a lot of mindset stuff and I can send you the recap email that has the resources
yeah, that would be
that we
great.
got. I'll do that today when we get started. I think I have your email. Find it. And are you already licensed?
No, I am not.
Here, I have your email. Okay, so you're in school?
Yep.
Awesome. Kyson's in school as well. So,
Cindy?
my name is Cindy.
Nice to meet you.
So today we're gonna learn about being a real estate expert and then a value proposition, I believe. Well, this is cool. So, I'm gonna pull up the recap email. Not the right one. Did you guys get any, well, I guess just you, did you get any, did you have any conversations about real estate or anything since Tuesday? Did you do anything real estate related?
I kept working on the licensing course
Perfect.
and I chatted with my wife's cousin, they just bought a house, so. They already bought one in West Haven, but I told her that I was getting licensed today.
Yeah. And then, another good thing to ask them too is how was their experience? So you can figure out what the agent did that they liked and what the agent did that they didn't like, and you can kind of mold your business around that.
Yeah, I like that.
So just because they recently did it, they're gonna remember that, so that'll be a good thing to do. I'm gonna print these off for you. And you guys, you watched that video? Ken played that video, it's
Yeah.
amazing, right?
Awesome.
Feels so good, and the name of nurture. Okay, and then I sent you a spreadsheet since you don't have access to Command, so you have that spreadsheet that, where you can put a list of names, phone numbers, emails, birthdays, like so you can get going building a
I think I
database.
see that person.
Yeah.
And it was in the recap email from Ignite too.
Okay, sweet.
Thanks, Eden, you're amazing.
We're all amazing. Yeah, look at her.
Thanks.
Good eye.
Yeah.
Did you get the one thing packet? Did she pass those out? Were you able to complete that?
No, not yet. I started working.
It's like deep thinking.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to complete it all for sure. Yeah, so, we have books for sale, so they're $40 for the binder of all the printed materials. I can also send you a digital copy
Okay.
of it, so you can have it just digitally, and that's free. And then we do some handouts sometimes, so we have a handout for this. I think just this session, the first one, because you're gonna have some homework in it.
Oh, okay.
But most of the time we don't do handouts, you'll just do the digital version or the. Or if you wanna buy the book, you could buy
Probably did.
the digital.
I
That's what
have
most
everything on
people
my
do.
computer.
That's what most people do. And I bought the book and I love it and I use it all the time, but I use the one on my iPad way more.
Yeah.
Then I don't have to carry a big binder around. Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna send you, it'll be in this email that I'm gonna send you right now.
Okay.
Have you, Cindy, been having real estate conversations?
So
And letting
I,
people know you're in school and all?
I haven't told them I'm in school. I did property management for a good while, or
Okay.
almost 3 years.
Is that what you do at Cornerstone?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I did property, I was a leasing agent first. Within 6 months, I was a property manager, and, I kind of got tired of my residents, just because they're a lot sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I moved over to our corporate office, and I'm an accountant.
Awesome. Are you getting licensed to do property management or to sell?
To sell. Yeah, I do not wanna go back to property management. I have friends who still work in that, and they're like, would you come back if it paid better? And I'm like, no. Tenants are, they're just, you get those tenants where they're just too much. And
Right.
I was on call on weekends, like it was constant.
Oh,
I was like, no, I don't wanna do this anymore.
yeah.
After 3 years, I'm good.
You're like, I got it good. Got it good for sure. Well, so there wasn't a ton of homework last time, but we'll start to get more and more.
Okay.
We're gonna start, like, after today, you're gonna learn about how to pull stats on the market and what numbers you need to know through all that. So there will be some homework with that, and we'll show you some ways you can find those stats and different things you can do, but we'll practice, like we did last time with, I'll just bring up like a little conversation topic. So, I actually did that one last time. Okay, so we'll do this, so, and we'll just take turns answering or just make a discussion out of it. It's not putting anybody on the spot or anything. And if it shows there's somebody waiting, will you just get my attention and I'll let them in on the Zoom? So, during a conversation with a friend, they ask you how the real estate market is. So instead of replying, it's great, what could you say next?
Talk about like the average price of homes in the area, like what kind of homes or how fast the market's moving. Like little quick stats that they'll understand and it will be.
Right, right. Hey, what about you? Do you have any other thoughts?
Sorry, this is all kind of new, so.
Super normal. There's no right or wrong answer. So do you know why you don't want to say it's great? If I'm like, hey, how's the market? And you're like, it's great. Because that ends the conversation.
Do you wanna
Like,
find
awesome,
something?
nice.
So,
You do this, but
that's
Yeah,
right where I'm going, yep.
it's awesome, like, why are you asking, what are you looking for? How's the market for selling, how's the market for buying, like,
Yep, and that's exactly what I say, so I'm like, they're like, so you asked me, how's the real estate market?
how's the real estate market right
Oh, it kind of depends on like what you're looking to do. Are you looking to buy or sell?
now? Goodbye.
Okay, yeah, so it's super great for buyers right now because, hey, welcome back. He's basically spent all day with me. So, it's actually really great for buyers right now because, and people are afraid of the interest rates, but that is helping sellers. We're getting sellers to pay closing costs and then we can buy your rate down. So it's actually a perfect time to buy. And the minute interest rates go lower, do you know what's gonna happen to house prices? They're gonna go up. Cause there's such a demand for houses. So if you wait to buy till interest rates go down, house prices are gonna go up. But if you buy now and interest rates go down, you can just refinance and get a lower interest rate. So you're gonna and that is true. And then if he said, I'm looking to sell, right? Then I'm like, it's actually a great time to sell because we do have a housing shortage right now. Like there isn't a ton on the market. I think when I started real estate, we had like 12 to 15,000 homes on the market at any given time. It got down to 2,000 when the market was crazy a couple years ago. And we stay right around that 8 to 10 right now. You're gonna learn about the stats today in that class I taught it and why that's important to know those stats as well. So, but I think anytime they ask you a question, ask it back. And because if you just answer it like, it's great, then the conversation's over. So let's do,
I think
Ribbon up.
someone's waiting. It's flashing.
Oh, this is flashing because it's me talking, but
Oh, gotcha.
good catch. Yeah, nobody's there yet. So, we'll do the next question. You want to build a referral-based business with local vendors and allied resources. You just met an insurance agent in the area. What do you say to see if they're open to exploring a win-win partnership?
Maybe ask them if you could leave like your business card and they could do, cause I know insurance companies do like the welcome packets,
Mm-hmm.
and so you could stick your card in the welcome packet.
Yeah, that's a
Put
good one.
yourself out there.
That's a good one, yep. Anyone else have any thoughts on that? Those are ones,
Oh, okay.
KE11,
So the
exclamation
question
point.
is, if you meet an insurance.
So you want to build a
agent,
referral-based business
Right.
with local vendors, you need an insurance agent. So what are you gonna say to them to create a win-win relationship?
Just more questions like, well, what kind of insurance are you in? How long have you done it? Do you work with realtors a lot? This, that, the other, and kind of probe for interest, I
Mm-hmm.
think,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Yep. Anything you want to add?
Just that it's could be a win-win, just symbiotic relationship. Anytime that I've got a potential home buyer, somebody is trying to sell, that insurance comes up, you'll be my guy. And hopefully, you can do the same for me.
Yep. Yeah, because that's a win-win, right? You're passing them referrals, they're passing you referrals. I do refer insurance agents in my buyer process. Which you guys get all that when you join. Oh, I'm a productivity coach. You may not know that. I think I introduced in the email, but
I think so.
but so I help new agents get into production and get their businesses up and building.
Okay.
And I do that one by like one-on-one mentorship and coaching with you, but also like I share my exact system that I use in all of my listings and all of my buys. So you get all my email templates that I send out to everybody. One of the email templates I send out has insurance referrals in it. It also has, like, I have another vendor list with like roofers and plumbers. In it that people need, and I do the same thing. Like every time I send my handyman the most referrals. He is a past client of mine. He's gonna be a future client of mine, like all of that stuff. And every time I send him a referral, I'm like, hey, his name is Jason. I'm like, hey, Jason, I just sent you another referral. This person's gonna be reaching out. That way, even if the person doesn't reach out to Jason, my handyman, he knows that I'm putting his name out there. And so he's out there putting my name out there. Kind of like you were saying, like, let's pass them back and forth for that. Same with my nail lady, like, same with, my hair lady. I used to get my lashes done, like, I sold my lash lady's house when I was getting them done. Like, it depends what you're into, right? But if you like are really into shoes and the shoe store you go to all the time, you get to know the shoe salesman and work with them. Like anytime I have somebody that wants shoes, I know, and somebody that works at RC Willey, I send everybody to her to get their appliances because she sells appliances at RC Willey. Are you buying appliances because you just bought a home, or like is it getting old? And
Those guys give the best gifts.
at RC
Just
Willey,
saying, just saying.
what
Yeah,
do they give RC Willey?
so, usually for me to, like, as the property manager, they would come and bring me like little cards saying like a discount or whatever. And if you ask them, I've gotten umbrellas, speakers, like coffee mugs, I got a massage blanket, like, they give good gifts. Just
That's
saying.
fun. That's fun. Yes. That is fun. Property managers is a good one too, to
Yeah,
create a win-win relationship with. When you were in property management, did you get notice of people moving out, but they probably didn't have a realtor and they were gonna buy?
yes, a
Mhm.
lot of the time. And so it would have been good. So I know, Anna who works here.
Oh, Anna Escobedo? Yeah.
And
Love her.
so, now, like, if I do have somebody that is moving out, or like, one of my friends that is still a property manager has something moving out, I'll like recommend her, or I have other, real estate agent friends that I'm like, hey, like, if you're looking to buy, like.
Yeah, and where you have the property management background, you can go in there and go to different apartment complexes or complexes, or property management companies and say, hey, my name is Cindy, I used to be in property management and now I'm in sales. I'd like to create this win-win partnership. If I have people looking to rent, right, I'll send them here, I'll let them know how great you guys are. If you guys have people looking to buy, send them to me. And I would also still take in a little gift. It doesn't have to be a speaker or a massage
Yeah.
blanket, but like a box of donuts, right? Or like,
Yeah,
like
definitely.
something.
Gifts go a long way. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be surprised.
Yeah, for sure. So, 5:20. So, did you, I know we have kind of been working on your real estate business all day. Did you do anything else? Like since last Tuesday in real estate,
As far as just.
like talking to
progressing my
people
business.
or,
Maybe just kind of a couple close friends, just conversations I was already having, but haven't quite made the effort yet. Like I was telling you earlier, to like make a social media post or anything like that and just put the word out to everybody. But I did just really get my email today, so I guess I can legally do that. So I'm
yeah,
doing that.
he got his license number today from the division. So he's actually a licensed agent now. He passed the background check. We were
A
worried.
little bit worried about that, but so, figure it out.
So, this is a fun one, so take some time to think about it each individually. But you're attending a networking event and you have 30 seconds to introduce yourself to people. So you're there to meet them, to network with them, right? So that's why they're there, that's why you're there. So what are you gonna do at a networking event? So think about that. And then we'll have you guys, I'll go with you first and you go with me first, and then you guys introduce yourselves and then we'll swap around. Okay. So, yeah, so just think about it. So if I'm like, and I've been to networking events where the person speaking is like, everybody stand up and introduce yourself to somebody you don't know, because that's what you're there for.
Yeah.
Right? So think about what you're gonna say, or don't think too hard, just do it. But you guys pair up first and I'll pair up with Kyson and then we'll swap out. So practice it or two. Do you want to go first or do you want me to?
You go first. I'll learn from you.
Okay. Hey, Allison, I'm with Keller Williams.
Tyson, how are you?
Good. What do you do, Kristen?
I'm
Good, how are you?
Well.
Okay.
I haven't got-
Now we know each other.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's great. What did we like?
First.
Club, house, we're there. I'm pretty new and they've just been teaching me everything.
But
I love that, I love that. Well, hey, since we're with the same company, do you want, like, I get your number and just I get in touch with you and.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
what was your name?
That'd be awesome.
Anyway, nice to meet you.
So
I'm Keith, I
might have made it out.
Northern.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
That's from the Halloween Friends and Influence People. You read that, right?
Yeah.
We both got the same point.
I twisted it. We're like, where you work, right, totally. But I feel good for you, because I'm interested in you.
Okay, my turn?
Yeah.
Alright, hey, how's it going? What's your name?
Hi, oh, yeah.
Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Tyson. Where are you from?
I'm just from here, you,
Oh, that's awesome.
what about you?
I'm also.
I'm not.
I'm also gonna reach out from this area. What do you do here?
Oh, I sell real estate.
Oh, no way, me too. That's so cool. What brokerage do you like?
I'm with Keller Williams Success.
That's awesome, me too. You might not have heard me, that's pretty new.
Oh, okay.
Just got my license a few weeks ago, but it's been great so far. How long have you been here?
I've been with it for 10 years.
Wow. That's
I'm
awesome.
so-
You know, I'm looking for people that I know that can help me learn the ropes, because like I said, I'm super new. Would you be okay to like exchange numbers and keep in touch?
Yeah.
And then Awesome.
Yeah. We all did.
It was nice to meet you.
Yeah. Hey, we'll see, because they don't want to do it.
Great.
Hey, did you guys both get to introduce yourselves?
Got to introduce ourselves, told each other like who we were, where we were from, where we worked, but yeah, we did give everyone.
Yeah, we only have 30 seconds. Okay, so why don't you go with Kyson and I'll go with Cindy.
Hey, how's it going, man? What's your name? Levi, nice to meet you. I'm Kais. Now, where are you from?
Did you come to-
Oh, that's awesome, me too. There you go.
Okay.
Nice, nice. What do you do? Oh, cool, no way, me too. I'm just getting into it. What brokerage are you?
How have you been in?
Me too. That's awesome. What do you like? What do you like about Columbus?
Well, I'm always looking for people to refer.
Yeah. I think that's the best. It's like, I'm super new, I'm still getting licensed, and I love how much.
Okay, probably super different. So, there you go.
Good. Bye, okay. I'm from Idaho, but I'm living in Utah now. I was born and raised in Idaho, and then I got married in Ogden area.
Yeah.
Southern Idaho, Rigby area.
So you don't know anything about, even though. Okay, you can try it. Okay,
Yeah, you like it so far?
Usually.
That's awesome.
Great for what
Cool.
for what they need, and so.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Good job.
Totally a little bit out of the comfort zone.
So how?
Yeah,
I think practice here. That's why we
Good.
practice here.
Yeah, I definitely like this part.
Okay.
Legal.
My name is, or,
However you want to do it, if there's no way.
my name is Janine. Oh, your name.
Yeah. What did you
Nice
do
to
it
meet you. I'm a new real estate agent.
Yeah.
How have you been?
I think that's, yeah.
I've been to a couple networking events, now they're pretty fun, and I always meet a ton of people in there so much.
Oh, really? Well, that's good to know.
They just like move it over and I'm like, well,
Just like, what do
they here for
What do
it.
you do?
Oh, that's. So I'm a realtor, with Laura Williams,
Oh, okay.
Did really good.
so you could say so.
So, yeah, so am I. I'm just starting out and trying to figure out.
Oh, really?
Trying to get people that where I can connect with
Or no,
With clients or
4.5.
potential vendors and getting the third class.
The last 45.
Perfect, so now ask for my question.
Oh,
Yes.
so would it be okay to get your information for referrals?
Yeah, for sure, I'll get it to you, and I can help you too, like, so if you have any questions, call me or.
That's.
Perfect. I would really appreciate it.
There's something that we need to study.
That felt easier or hard to get,
Study what I was.
Kind of, well,
it's like a shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make it about that, so when you go to.
It's for me.
No, that's good.
Instead of other realtors, there's all different kinds of networks.
Yeah.
So like, I'll go to birthday parties, like for my friends, that are having big parties, and then I'll do, that's what I really think is work there, like.
How long would it take?
People, and then I simply
Like how long
love
would
that.
it take?
Oh,
Cause, or sometimes I'm like, it's too pretty fun, I want to go rent, or like,
To be honest.
me and the. It's like,
I'm a very awkward person.
everyone
That
else,
was
and I'm
times
awkward
squared.
too, and I'm just
Stay
on my
on.
face and people laugh at me and I'm like. But not everybody, some people do care,
Yeah,
but everyone is awkward, it's because we don't know.
Yeah. as a adult, yeah.
Yeah.
Just put in.
Cause my kids will go up to
Yeah.
me.
Study and try to.
Oh, like, what's your name?
Yeah.
And then they're like, do you wanna play this game?
Yeah, and I'm like,
It's like.
this was that easy.
It kind of is, but we get in our head, we get awkward. Yeah. But it's interesting how even just.
So this is way. I think, look, really
I love it.
up in Plain City.
We'll see what they do, we'll switch again,
Okay.
we can practice
Where did you-
another time.
Fun.
And I did email you that thing with the, and it says like, here's the invite up here, and so it in my Google Drive. Okay, should we switch again? So Tyson and Cindy, we're getting better and better, right?
I don't feel pretty equally sucky after that second time. And
Well, he got to go with me first and I taught him the tricks. But now they both know the tricks. Equal playground. So I don't know, did he tell you what we did different?
I didn't tell him.
Okay. Okay. You want to go first?
Should I go first?
Do you want me to go first and show you?
Okay.
My name is Cindy.
Okay,
How are you?
how about I'll go first? And then I'll finish it.
I-
Nice to meet you.
It's so good to meet you. Do you come to these events a lot?
Oh, really?
Not really.
The second.
Your second one, awesome. Was your first one fun?
Sorry, I.
It's a good experience, but there you go.
It's fun, they're always fun. I always learn a lot. Meet a ton of people. It's super fun. Well, what do you do for
Oh,
work?
okay.
I don't know for you.
Okay, you're listening. That's really good.
Kelly Williams.
That's amazing.
Make good
I'm a Kelly Williams too.
Awesome.
So are you newer?
Yeah.
Okay, so we haven't seen each other in the office yet. That's probably why. Awesome. Well, then give me your contact information and then I'm willing to help you wherever, anytime. So I'll get yours and I'll just let you know.
Sounds good.
Okay. And it's blah, 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 right? So now I have your contact information. So what got you into real estate?
Yeah.
Just doing it. Just
From,
made me wanna hop on board and give it a try, so.
Well, it's a great time to get into the market because you come in with an advantage over the agents that have been in it for a while. It's a little bit easy to start down to build a business. So you're gonna gain market share in all these other agents. So I'm sure you've heard all that in the past.
Yeah, I'll give it
It'll
that.
be great.
Did you like it?
Oh, nice too. So I'll send you a text and then I'll see you in the office.
So like.
And then you, hey, did you notice what I did and what you did?
a little more.
Well, what do you do?
I'm in.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Did you already?
Well, I'm actually getting a real estate license here. I just know, I think.
That's the key, is I was interested.
All the maps that goes. into
So I was asking you questions about you, and then we kept talking,
it.
and then
Kudos to you for,
right?
that's so awesome.
Sure, yep, so that was the magic.
Well, I don't know.
That's why you
Alright.
shared the magic trick. So,
Or
You wanna try it for me?
buying or something.
Okay.
Or have clients.
Hey, how are you? My name's Levi. I'm good. Nice to meet you, Allison.
Oh, sweet, awesome.
oh, I just love learning, I love being all the.
Well, it's nice to meet you.
So you video over there?
Yeah, lots, I go a couple of years,
So where are you from?
Cool.
just from Utah, northern Utah.
Okay, well, where?
From Layton, my office in Layton.
So where's your office?
I'm Keller Williams Success. Have you
No
heard of it?
way, no way. That's me too.
With this big old place and all these people.
I haven't run into you yet. How long have you been?
Yeah, I've been here for 2 years.
Awesome, perfect, yeah. Well, great, it's awesome to meet you. I'd honestly, I'd love to be able to network with you and connect with you. If I get your.
Yeah, yeah, I know, it's like,
You're open to the bar.
exactly. It's 8:07. Did that feel different for you? I was asking the question, but it takes all the pressure off you to have a elevator. We still wanna have elevator pictures, we're still gonna work on those,
My
but it
dad
takes all that
works
pressure off you.
real estate kind of just.
Yeah, are you a reader?
Yeah, I.
Yeah, the
kind of listen sometimes.
Yeah, the audiobooks. So that's what I do. So, the book that technique is from is called How to Win Friends and Influence People. So.
Check that out. Thank you.
So Mikhail coming. So how does it feel now that you guys have tried it a couple times?
Great.
A little bit better.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was, talking to Levi about. It takes the pressure off you having to talk about yourself when you're asking the questions, right? You're controlling the conversation. That is, you're gonna use that in real estate everywhere we go. And you boys kind of learned it on Tuesday when Dalton was like, I would ask more questions, like, and that's really what selling real estate is about, is asking questions. So your listing presentation is it just a ton of questions, like, what are you looking for in a realtor? Like, you're gonna do research to know what their home is worth, right? But then you're gonna be like, what do you think your home is worth after looking at these comps? And it's a collaborative effort to list their home. So you're still guiding them, but you can guide them through questions. So if they're like, if I have a home and it's worth like 500,000. And I think it's worth 500,000 and they're like, well, I think it's worth $1 million. I can be like, show me why your home is worth $1 million compared to these houses. Is there a house that's sold that I don't know about? Usually they're like, no. Right, so that, hey, tell me your name. Javon. Okay, did you get an email from me? My name's Allison.
No.
Okay, I will get your email from you. And make sure that you're getting emails from me for this class. Did Eden invite you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
perfect.
it's actually Kat, but she knows you.
Oh, Kat told me you were gonna come. Okay, I think she's not coming tonight, right?
I don't think she,
Okay, I don't think she is. Do you know her personally?
my mom does.
Okay. I'm going to the Janet Johnson
Oh, you want? Yeah, we're going.
Oh, you are? And Nelly, I'm
Yeah.
super excited. I'm a concert junkie. I am a concert junkie.
You go to Luke Combs?
I didn't, I was in Arizona for the weekend, this past weekend, my family lives there and we went down there for that, so he was here. When, are you guys all concert people?
I have been to maybe 2 concerts.
I went to 2 this week, no. Just kidding. Are you a concert person?
When I can find a babysitter, I'm.
Yeah, yeah, are you? Or
Oh,
just Janet Jackson?
No, I go.
Just okay. Well, I mean, well, no, okay, well, and then did you go to Luke Combs? Yeah, I didn't go there. I heard it was so hot.
Yeah, it wasn't, I mean, we went in the shade. I definitely could imagine the spots near the heat. It looked hot out there. I
2
mean-
of my friends had pit passes and they said it was like almost super miserable.
Oh, yeah,
because
the
of how
pit
hot it
didn't
was.
look fun. Yeah, we saw the pit, yeah, that, it was.
It did, yeah,
so.
yeah, love it, I love it. Here comes Mikel. Hey, we were just practicing our networking skills when you were
Nice.
here. So this is Mikel Hell. So I didn't do this last time with Ken and Eden, but I'll start doing it from now on with agents, but I've probably done this with you before, but tell them your story. So how long have you been in real estate?
Right, it's time's flying, 8 years now, so 6 years full-time. First 2 years I was on a team, kind of part-time. Yeah, I've been in Keller Williams for 5.5.
He is a avid athlete, if you can't tell.
Not very good one. I like dangerous things. This one was from, just crashing my motorcycle bike. Handlebars, right.
You did another crash right before that, right?
Yeah, snowboarding.
You did
Right into
that.
the seat. Hit the tree pretty hard. so-
Ooh.
Yeah, trees don't move.
No, you think I've learned that after snowboarding for 20 something. That was the first I've had a run in with one of them.
Trees ain't.
Hopefully the last. It wasn't fun.
Yeah,
So yeah, I've been beating myself up the last few months.
but a couple months now. Yeah.
Sounds like you're out
One thing that I noticed about Mikel and that I really like is he is a systems guy. So you have systems dialed in more than anyone I know. Would you agree? You feel like you don't?
I don't
but
know if
you
I do, I still have progress. I think we're always working and growing in our business, but there definitely has been some intentionality over the last few years of just a few things and just the way I communicate with clients, using my database and just the events and things that I do. Definitely, I've improved my systems for sure.
Yeah. So what I heard from that, like as a new agent, is that he started out probably without a system and he built from there. Cause he built a customized system for him. So as much as he could hand you all his systems, they may not work for you and your personality. Right? You've got to customize it to your database and your niche. Any advice you want to share with them? Are you teaching? Yep.
Teaching Connect with Market. I like she said, you're gonna hear from probably multiple agents, obviously, if you're, just starting the Ignite program, and anyone you talk to around here is gonna have kind of a different system or just what resonates with them, right? So some agents are gonna be doing a lot with social media. The other ones are paying for leads and cold calling, and everybody's got a way to do it. But I would say find what resonates with you and what you enjoy doing, because it's gonna be really hard to commit to 2 hours, 3 hours a day of lead gen doing something you don't enjoy, right? So it does make it so that it's exciting and something you can look forward to doing if you're connecting with people you want to work with and doing what you like. I think the key is just having conversations, or you got to be doing something to get the phone to ring, but there's more than one way to.
Yeah, for sure. So you are gonna be working and doing real estate, or you're gonna do real estate full time?
I'll work for a little bit
And
until I
do
get it
that.
started.
And same with you, right? And you don't know, right?
Yeah, I'm really in between on it. Definitely interested in learning a lot.
Yeah. So it took you 2 years of hard work
Yeah.
to become full
I mean,
time.
there was some sacrifice, but I think the cool thing about this career is, because the schedule is somewhat flexible, I was able to still work that full-time job and the reason for me wanting to do that was before walking away from obviously the income and some of the benefits was I wanted to have at least a few months of savings in case, you know, there was slower time or things didn't kind of continue to go as they were. But it just kind of building that safety net of, okay, I got to the point where I was doing even just part-time, I think 12 transactions, so average about one a month. And it was getting to the point where I was like, okay, if I take on more real estate stuff, I don't know if I'm gonna have time. So I crossed that bridge where I was like, okay, I gotta make it either commit to this or scale back, which is kind of, you know, the goal was I wanted to do it full time. So it made it a lot easier when I got to that point. I had to make that decision to say, okay, I've already, you know, if I got some transactions under my belt and some people that I've been working with, that now it's time to make the move. And once I made that commitment, it was so much easier to like, put all my attention in real estate. It's just it's a lot easier.
It's kind of exploded.
Would you recommend the same path of like, if you already have a job working for a while or?
Personally, yes. I mean, I think just with the timing, but I've also heard other people that's like, you know, they talk about burning the ships, like committing and going.
We had the shifts. He jumped full in,
Like,
quit his
I don't know if
job.
there's anything wrong about that. The path that I it worked for me, but in your instance, like, if there's no other option, you're gonna make it work usually. I think just it's the time commitment, and I think you're gonna find that at some point. You're either gonna it's gonna resonate, and you're gonna love doing this, and you're gonna get to the point where you're like, okay, it's hard to do both, and that may be the best time to jump in, or in your situation, you're like, hey, this is what I'm doing, I'm all in. I think I've seen definitely it work both ways.
I had to work towards the safety net before my
Yeah.
wife would let
Yeah,
me
that
use
was-
this to this.
Especially being the family company. My wife would stay at home, mom with the kids, and so yeah, there was, definitely was, it was nice to be able to have a little bit of savings so that I wasn't so concerned, you know, about the income piece of it and just doing what I wanted to do. For sure.
Yeah,
The best part of that was when you have that safety net and you start crushing it, you start, you know, doing transactions, you don't have to dip into that. That kind of set me up to have enough money for my first investment property a couple months down the road too.
It's awesome.
So the nice thing is having that's great, but it'd be even better if you don't even touch it. You know, it opens up more doors for you.
then you can leverage it to build wealth, baby. Make some money. Okay, we'll let you get started. I think. You're right there. No. Here it is. I'm gonna pass them out, please.
And once you're doing that, maybe let's go, is it gonna be on Zoom or not?
It is.
Oh, yes, okay.
Do you want me to pause the recording?
No, I just didn't know. if
Nobody's
there was
on
anybody
Zoom.
on there. if I could
Nobody's
hear
on
that.
there right now.
They can hear, somebody jumps on, do I have to let them in?
I will. I will.
Can we go around and maybe just tell me your name and a little bit about yourself? And it sounds like I kind of got a little bit of idea. You guys mostly are relatively new, I guess, getting your license. Tell me, I guess where you're at in the process and how long you've had your license, if you do. Right over here.
Okay, yeah, my name's Levi. Just barely got my license. I was telling you guys today, it came in.
Nice.
You know?
You got his license over today.
No way, dude, that's awesome.
Thank you. I been in the solar industry for about 7 years now. A little bit on the sales side, a little bit on the fulfillment side, and had a itch to do real estate for a real long time, but was never really quite perfect timing, and just finally in a situation that, like I was saying a minute ago, my wife kind of granted me the permission to give this route a try, and so I decided to jump on that, and I'm brand new, just kind of trying to get my foot in the door.
Nice, cool, that's awesome.
Thank you.
What do you?
I'm Kyson, I'm in my license right now, started a few months ago. Just moved here to Utah like 6-7 months ago when I got married from Idaho. And I've been interested in real estate for a while. My dad works in real estate up in Idaho. And I was never super interested in like the traditional college path.
Okay.
And so I am super I was super interested in this opportunity to like start building my own business. So I'm excited about that.
Cool. What part of Idaho did it?
Southeast Idaho by Idaho Falls area.
Your dad still worked on real estate in that area?
He like the chief of technologies over a team of that's licensed under Keller Williams up in that area.
Awesome.
But he got licensed himself as well, like not even know.
Oh, that's okay. How about you?
I'm Devon. I haven't even started getting my license. I started looking into it though, so I'm hoping to get it. Worked construction a couple years. But it's fun. I kind of want to use my license to like build my own properties, because a lot of the guys that I worked with where I started, they have their own properties, but they have other people managing their property. In a sense, you know, like you have to have a realtor to do that. And if I could do that myself and still work the construction aspect of it, because like I obviously know a lot in there to do my own property maintenance and stuff, I think could be beneficial in that sense. So that's kind of what
And that's kind of one of the things that actually kind of intrigued me a little bit about real estate is I always had kind of the goal of one day I'd like to own rental properties, and I just thought, you know, obviously having my license and kind of getting into this industry would make that a little easier. Definitely has allowed me to, I guess, go a few different ways with real estate. So I know tons of people who would have their license and never even have sold, like retail sales wise, sold at home, and just obviously do a lot of property management side and just their own investments. Nice thing is you've got a few different pathways, and some of them can kind of overlap and work together, but yeah, there's many ways you could benefit from that. So that's awesome. How about you?
My name is Cindy. I am still in the process of getting my license. I've only been doing it for like a month.
Okay.
I did a course probably like a year and a half ago. Didn't pass the test. It's really difficult at the moment. I was super busy. I've done property management for 3 years.
Oh, wow, good.
Now I'm doing the accounting side, and yeah, I just kind of want to learn, get my license and invest and just be able to spend more time with the kids.
That's awesome. Good for you. That's sweet. Well, I guess before we start, I just want to let you guys know, well, who's been to the, this is step 3, so who is it, were you guys able to attend step 1 and 2? Anybody? You guys have, is this your first step?
Yeah, I just got the invitation on, Wednesday, I
Okay.
believe, so I was like, oh,
I'm trying to remember how many steps there are. I want to say there might be 10. You guys may know more than me, 'cause it's been a minute, but the nice thing about it, I really like about this course is most brokerages don't have, like, you get your license, it's like, here you go, good luck, take you out the door, and you're like, what do I do? It can be a little overwhelming. So I love that we have Keller Williams this Ignite program, because the more you can plug into this type of stuff, it's gonna really just help get your career moving quicker. The more things you can plug into, and each week you're gonna see that the instructor is gonna be a different agent who's actually in the fields working every day. So you're gonna get a few different perspectives from people that can take pieces of, you know, hopefully sharing some of the things they're doing that are working, as well as the actual materials. I try to bring different insights, and I don't want to just slide through this stuff. I'd love as much participation, questions, if there's anything specific that maybe I'm doing in my business, I'm happy to share things with you guys. So as we kind of are going through this, if there's any questions or the more, I guess, feedback or whatever I can do to help you guys, just let me know, and we can kind of try to stay along this course, but we can also dive into specific things if you guys have questions. But obviously the topic of tonight is I think really kind of important. It's how do we connect with our market? And so we'll kind of just go over, you guys all have the material, right? Step 3, we're gonna talk about connecting with our market, and here's kind of, I guess, the few steps we're gonna go through today. The goal is that we are kind of diving into the importance of how do we share our expertise, and even just kind of the step 1.
Do you want the book? Oh, you have it?
Yeah.
Ooh, somebody want to read that out loud?
You wanna read this one for us?
I give it that.
Okay.
Here's the truth. If it has been done in another market, it can be done in your market. Once it's been done, no matter where, it's just a matter of finding out how that can be possible in your world.
Awesome. So I think that the good thing, or I guess this is obviously like Gary Keller, a lot of people think that, oh, just because we are in a different area or different things, you know, maybe we're not in the same market as in Texas or, you know, each market kind of has sub-markets, and the important thing is we don't have to reinvent the wheel necessarily. We can see what's worked for other people and follow that system, but we can tweak things a little bit to kind of make them our own and adapt them. But I think a lot of times we just say, oh, that's, you know, I can't do that, or someone else is doing it. And I think the important thing about this is really if somebody else has done it and it's worked, we can follow that system. Create it and hopefully have that objection that we have in our own mind can go away. So connecting with your market is really about knowing and connecting, I guess, with the clients in our market and knowing how to just deliver the message of our market right now. So the first thing we're going to talk about is this 3 different types of real estate markets, which I don't know which page is on in your book. We find that spot here.
I think I've done it, like the,
It looks like it correlates kind of where we're at. Yeah. The first, I guess, question I want to talk about maybe before we dive into this again is what does connecting with our market mean to you guys?
Your page looks a little different. It looks like this. So he's gonna talk to you about the buyer's market, the balance market, the seller's market. So you can fill that out.
what does connecting with the market mean to us?
Yeah, anybody have any, I guess, idea about that?
He means like staying up to date about what's happening in the market, but also getting really good at expressing that data in a way that people who aren't involved in real estate understand. Because sometimes, I would imagine that sometimes as agents, you go out and you talk to other agents and you're like, go through the lingo. You can't do that to most normal people because they'll just be like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Absolutely, I think you nailed it right there. I think the first part is knowing the information that we need to know, right? So some of the important things about, you know, days on market, how quickly homes sell, but I think there's different levels, right? So I think it's great to know kind of on a national level what's going on, maybe with interest rates and different things, you know, obviously talking about some of the changes we're seeing as far as buyer agency goes right now. There's a lot of things that are kind of, you know, at a bigger level it's important to understand, but also if we look at kind of a smaller level, what's important to know about our city, our county, maybe even specific neighborhoods. So we're taking the big picture, kind of having generalization of information that's going on, but I think the other piece of connecting with our market is, I guess, determining what that market is, where do you want to work and who lives there, and how do we deliver that message when it comes down to some of the information that's important for them to know, like days on market, average price point, certain things like that. Right? So once we have that connecting with our market, I think you just nailed it, is how do we also deliver that, you know, provide value with that. So yeah, perfect. To be a real estate expert, I think it's really important that we understand the market at the moment, and obviously there's going to be changes we see. So interest rates, there's going to be some other outside influences, you know, when it comes down to affordability, taxes. So there's a lot of stuff, you know, that are going to make each market slightly different. So in order to be the expert, it's important that we know some of those things, pay attention. When we notice changes, kind of just knowing the signs as we're seeing the market's always going up and down and over time, obviously. But there's going to be small little indicators before something usually big happens, right? So it's just kind of being aware of those things. And one of the things that we're going to talk about when we jump into here is just the 3 types of markets. So the first one is going to be buyer's market. So in a buyer's market, houses are not selling extremely fast. Buyer's market means there are more homes for sale on the market than there are interested buyers. So the supply of homes is greater than the demand. And usually there's a pretty large amount of inventory of homes. So it puts the buyer at an advantage in that situation. Because they can get something for maybe a little more affordable price. The opposite of that is gonna be a seller's market, so. Pretty much what we've experienced here in Utah the last 8 years or so, for quite a while, we've had a pretty strong seller's market. So in a seller's market, the demand for homes is greater than the supply of homes available, so there are more buyers than homes, so sellers an advantage usually creates multiple offer situations. In a balanced market, we've got a pretty, I guess, healthy share of buyers and sellers, so it is usually a pretty balanced market when it comes to negotiations and pricing. A little bit of wiggle room, but I think the big thing is kind of, if we're looking at the signs, we're gonna look at how many months supply of inventory, and that's gonna be probably the first indicator of what type of market. So if we didn't list any more homes today, how long would it take for the inventory we currently have listed to sell all the homes? And that's kind of how they measure our inventory level. So the buyer's market, they're saying more than 7 months supply of inventory is an indicator. I would say in Utah, we're probably closer to 5 to 6 months supply. I think, again, this is where kind of knowing the market is important, but I would say the market in Utah is going to be different than the market in Wyoming, for instance, right? So the important thing is just how to be able to find this information and realize kind of which market we're in, because that's going to help as we're delivering the message and kind of setting expectations for both buyers and sellers. I think it's an important conversation to have when we sit down and to say, you know, in a really strong seller's market for working with buyers, how important is it to kind of set that expectation up front that if we find a home that you guys like, we're going to need to put an offer in and maybe even have to pay above our asking price. You know, it's kind of those things like that that are important, that we are the ones who are setting that kind of expectation up front so that, you know, we're not missing out. I think it's really important to kind of prep your clients, whatever, whoever it is, whether buyer or seller, to kind of understand that, you know, for instance, in the sellers, we've seen a little bit of a shift kind of more toward the balanced market right now. But if sellers in their mind are still thinking that, you know, people are willing to pay $20,000 over and homes are going to go, you know, under contract that weekend with multiple offers, I think just setting that expectation up front, knowing kind of where we're at is extremely.
What does the inventory look like right now in this region?
Can I show you how to kind of pull that up here?
Yeah.
Let's see.
You want me to just do it?
Yeah, you able to do that? I just need to show the statistics.
Oh my gosh, I'm clicking on. I messed up our whole slide that we're on, but I'll fix it.
I'm guessing you guys probably don't have access to the MLS yet. I guess you're probably close,
Not
but
quite yet.
this is where probably one of the easiest things, besides like the market statistics that our office sends out, that everybody would have access to. Another great resource is once you have MLS access, there is some really great tools on here that you can, again, look at the state in whole. We can look at counties. We can pretty much put in city or neighborhood, and look at specific statistics for that.
When you're looking at a region to like talk to someone about, do you usually look at like county or do you?
Yeah,
look
I
at
usually
big
get
county?
Yeah, like if I know that it's Davis County, it's gonna be relative. Sometimes I'll look at, you know, Davis and Weber County are usually pretty close as far as statistics go. Salt Lake's a little bit different. There's also kind of submarkets as we're pulling this up, because if we're looking at townhomes and condos, for instance, in days on market and certain price point, those are all gonna change a little bit. So again, the more you can kind of just get used to kind of looking at some of the statistics, paying attention to the market reports that we do. I think one of my favorite things that we offer here is the quarterly market update. Marcus Green does, and he
And that
brings
is on our
a lot of
YouTube.
stuff.
Channel as well.
That's a fantastic, probably the easiest way to really kind of get caught up to speed, because he's gonna take all the information that we're gonna look at and just condenses it. It's already, pretty much got a package ready to
It's not that not too long to do it.
Mhm.
So that's a great thing. In fact, that was probably one of the most valuable things when I first came to KW that I was like, wow. How come I didn't have this information before? So it's a great resource for you. But if we go up here to stats, once you're in the MLS, and we can go to the assumption report, that's a great one.
The absorption.
And just for fun, we'll look at,
You wanna do single family?
single family homes and I think county, we'll just look at the dates. Yep. So if we go down, this is gonna be really kind of showing where our inventory is, so. I've always kind of wondered how they track this backwards, but each month it's gonna show kind of inventory level, so you can see. We're right now roughly 3 months supply of inventory. We're looking at kind of the dark gray line, so I think this is months back. So right now, we're roughly 3 months supply of inventory. And again, where we just talked about kind of the balanced market, I would say 4 to 5 months is pretty balanced, so. If we're at 3 months right now, what kind of market are we still leaning
But
towards?
it's moving towards.
Yeah, so I think if we were to look back even. Last year, I'd say we kind of have gone from really, really strong seller's market. Even though we've kind of seen a little bit of a correction, we really haven't like gotten to the. We're barely hitting a balanced market, even though we're kind of correction rate, so. If we were to look at this same thing for another state, it could tell a totally different story, and the thing you gotta keep in mind is. Interest rate and some of the things that the feds have, the ability to control. To kind of help slow down appreciation and kind of. I guess have some kind of control over what's going on with the real estate market. Is they're making those decisions for the whole nation, right? Not necessarily looking at what's going on here in
Right.
Utah. So even though we may be at 3% or 3 months supply of inventory, there's probably other states that are going to be, even a lot higher. So the interesting thing is, when they're looking at making some of those decisions, they're looking at the whole nation. And I think our economy, our housing market is probably appreciated quicker than a lot of other states, so. It's maybe slowed us down, but we're not seeing, we still have a shortage of homes in Utah for the amount of people that are wanting to live here, so. Our kind of correction is still just pushed us in maybe less of a seller's market, but we still aren't really crossing the line to say, hey, this is, put us in a strong seller's market or buyer's market.
Outside of recessions and global pandemics, what's the thing that most affects the market, like?
Interest rates have been the big, that's really what shifted us from, if we were to kind of rewind and look at the last 18 months ago, when interest rates, or we're just coming out of COVID, when interest rates were 3%, we were counting weeks supply here in Utah instead of month supply. So at one point, we were like 2 weeks supply. So if we stopped putting any homes on the market, every single house at that time would have been pretty much under contract within 2 weeks. So I think that was probably, if we go back and look at this graph of, the absorption rate, I don't think that, at least I hadn't seen anything that had ever been that low of inventory and that strong of a seller's market for quite a while. So as soon as interest rates went from 2.9 to 6, we saw definitely inventory to start, but I would say population growth can change a little bit as far as, what can change that, and interest rates were kind of the other big factor that can have an influence. But really, this is just kind of measuring supply and demand. We think that the easiest way to explain this to anybody is how long would it take for all the houses that are up for sale for buyers to purchase all of them. So, kind of interesting to see, but I think knowing just a general kind of overview of how this works and be able to explain that to a client, kind of what to expect, I think is what hopefully the takeaway that you guys can get from this. But I think kind of the minor little signs are also important too, because usually it's not gonna change overnight. Right? It's gonna be small indicators like interest rates going up slowly, or we started seeing inventory decreasing. That could be a sign that there's kind of a shift. So when we talk about, or when we hear the word shift in the real estate market, this is what we're talking about, is maybe moving from one market to another. So if we started seeing, say, multiple offer situations start to appear again, it's going to be an indication that we are kind of getting into a stronger selling market, kind of opposite. So knowing the other thing that's also kind of important, and also in that statistics thing, we can also look at the number of days on market, how long it's taking for homes to get contract. That's kind of another leading indicator of kind of the market we're in.
You want me to go to any other piece?
We could, yeah, I guess this is probably the best way to figure out some. Talk about, especially about like days on market. There's gonna be something. I always like this again, kind of look at the inventory, and that's gonna be a great, just kind of overall indicator. But I think it's also important to, I mean, this is Davis County, there's not a specific price point, but again, we talk about going kind of macro and scaling down micro level markets. You could do something like this just in a city, for instance. So this is looking at the county, but we're gonna also see these inventory levels change based on price. So $1 million home is probably gonna have longer days on market than $300,000 start. So even kind of knowing what price range you're helping clients in will also kind of give us a little better insight of what to expect as well. Any feedback or questions or anything as far as kind of knowing a little bit of, just hopefully give you a glimpse of kind of how to find some of these statistics?
We know this is a lot too, like it's gonna fill a little bit over your head for now, but the more you expose yourself to these kind of conversations, the quicker you catch on. So.
And, you know, as you're kind of diving into this stuff and learning again, I just wanted to at least just kind of show you like one resource that you can use, but without making it too crazy. It's going to take a little bit of time, I'm sure, playing, but again, we always send out, our office is going to send out a monthly kind of market report, and then the quarterly one is a great thing to plug into, or to go back and watch the previous quarter.
What would you say, and it's something you've already kind of partly gone over, I guess, but you're showing somebody a home for the first time in Davis County, Weaver County, whichever county, what would you say, you know, the 3 or 5 most important like stats, like you're talking right now, that you would come either already in your head or have it right there in front of you? You know, what's the most common questions you're gonna get as far as this?
I would probably just find their criteria, what they're looking for, and kind of show them obviously the actives that maybe they're interested in. You know, if we're looking at a certain price point, let's just say, for example, you're working with a first-time buyer, you know, they're qualified up to 400,000. They kind of give you an idea where they want to look. I would find not only a couple active properties, but I would really kind of pay attention to the solds and under contracts. If the under contracts, we can look at days on market, and we can also kind of, there's another statistic we can look at that is going to show, if we go to like market report, it will show you like the average days on market. But I would look at some of the under contracts and say, hey, this home is now under contract. It had been on the market for 12 days. You know, I kind of get an average of the under contract. How long was it in the market? Because that's going to kind of set a little bit of a better expectation of, you know, what they can expect. If we wait too long, you know, we are in a market that on average homes are going under contract in 16 days. right? So this one's been on here a week. Obviously, you're always gonna have some outliers, so if you're gonna find something that's been on the market hundred and twenty days, you know, you're gonna find some that are just clearly overpriced, but if you can kind of give just an average of, okay, stuff that has gone under contract, maybe look at 3 or 4 under contract and say, okay, the average of these has been X amount of days. That's always important to kind of get an idea, but it also, the solds are gonna tell us the other statistics, so I would track days on market. I would also look at list price versus sales price.
Is the days on market just kind of trying to light a fire under them as far as like this kind of a time
Yeah,
sensitive thing?
just a little bit, yeah, and also kind of knowing that if someone's got the impression that they have room to negotiate the price or ask for
Gotcha.
$10,000 in closing costs and stuff going under contract in less than a week, probably not gonna be able to be too aggressive as far as your offer. Because that's kind of showing, you know,
They can
the
afford.
demands there, so
Sticking
if
it
they just wait a week, it's gonna go under contract. So that kind of just kind of, I guess, gives you a little bit of room of how much you might be able.
Probably helps set expectations too for sellers who are like, oh, I think I can, we wanna get out of here pretty soon, so you can set the expectation, like houses like the one you're selling.
Yeah.
Are on market for like 60 days.
So I think it's super important on both sides of that equation, like you said, because that's a great thing, because if sellers are still under the impression where they hear, oh, it's a seller's market still.
They
The
can
price
sell
on the
overnight.
higher side, say, hey, you know what, these homes have been on the market for 60 days so far, and here's a price reduction, here's a price reduction. If we want to make sure that you get your home sold in the time frame you need to, you know, first of all, the homes are going under contract in 30 days that are priced correctly. You know, where do we want to be? That kind of also helps kind of frame that pricing strategy question a little bit better. But yeah, I think setting the expectation that we're not in quite the market where we put a sign in your yard and put on the MLS, it's gonna go under contract first. So again, knowing kind of the average days that it's taken, you know, finding those under contracts are gonna also show us, and the solds, show us a little more information of kind of what to expect. Yes, those are great numbers to have. The list price versus sales price ratio is also kind of a helpful statistic to maybe get familiar with. You know, if a home's listed at 400,000 and, you know, a couple of years ago, I think even just in the county, it was like 102% of the asking price was the average sales price. So you could almost prep your buyers. Hey, there's a possibility most homes are going for over our asking price. You know, if this is something you really are interested in and want to get, you know, there's probably not a very good chance that a seller is going to accept an offer $10,000 under, when we know that the average is 2%. So that will also kind of help with setting that expectation for both buyers and sellers that way. And the other thing I would kind of maybe just notice, especially with, I guess, either both side buyers or sellers, is kind of an important thing to look at, is see if concessions. So that'd be like seller paid closing costs, helping them to reduce. Right now, it's really popular. We're seeing more of that. Our list price to sales price ratio is still probably in the high 90%. We're getting pretty close to that. But what it doesn't always account for is, did the sellers help towards the buyer's closing costs? So right now, I've got new listing coming up at the townhome in West Haven, and almost every single one of the solds, there's been some kind of closing cost paid by the seller. So having that conversation up front, setting the expectation, hey, all the homes that have sold have, you know, the sellers have paid something to help towards the buyer's closing costs. And right now it's more popular that they're doing that to help with like rate buy downs to make it more affordable. So kind of just also seeing how many of the homes that have sold are under contract, or I guess you're not going to see the under contract concession. Looking at the solds, we will have access to see, did they pay any concessions? Those three things are kind of helpful to, again, set the expectation.
Thank you.
How important is it, I guess, as we kind of jump into the next part here, knowing, here's some other things we kind of already went over a little bit. Average price, you know, this is again, list price to sales price ratio, what type of inventory. we kind of hit some of these right here. The other thing that's really kind of good to know that's it affects our market, and we talked about some of the other things. I know already mentioned mortgage rates, but having an understanding, maybe a lender partner that's gonna kind of bring you some of this information. I know it's hard to stay on top of everything that's going on, but having a good lender partner is really helpful because they're gonna be your research, your resource of, okay, what are interest rates doing right now? Are there any trends there that could potentially change our market? Because just like we saw, when interest rates started going up, definitely was a leading indicator of what, kind of started to shift the market. So knowing what interest rates are, is also a really, I guess, good thing to know, or at least have a lender partner you can rely on that maybe can help deliver that information to your clients. Because obviously, as interest rates raise, buyers are gonna be pushed out of the market, and that can be, an influence on pricing as well. What are some maybe other economic factors, besides pandemic or rates that could possibly change an economy or the real estate market in there?
Maybe just like times of uncertainty as far as like politics and stuff goes. That's
I was gonna say new job opportunities. My friend lives in Wyoming over in Cokeville. He said that they're about to put in a new power plant or I think it's a power plant. And so they'll need to hire like 1,500 people. Right? And so that'll mean there's a ton of people coming in. House prices will go up, I think, right? That'll make it a seller's market. How fast does that usually happen was my question. Like if new job opportunities come in or come out, how fast can you see the local market change in like a city or a town where that happens?
I think that's kind of a tricky question to say there's like a specific indicator, but I think there's signs of, let's just say, future things that are gonna happen. So when we knew, for instance, just talking about kind of Utah's local economy, when we had like the airport expansion, we've had some really big projects. Trying to think what other, Amazon obviously has had the inland port. There's been a number of things that our economy has. I mean, Silicon Slopes saw all the jobs, they're opening. We saw, obviously, we're seeing the results of that now, but if you can stay kind of on top of things and knowing what's about to come, I think that's a good indicator that we're gonna, start seeing, that demand increase. For instance, if you were to sit in, let's just say at a city planning meeting or know that, Amazon just got approved to build their factory in Ogden that's gonna potentially provide thousands of jobs, just like we kind of mentioned. I think some of that stuff obviously gets approved through city and takes a little while for that stuff to actually show up and start, changing things. But I know that even just knowing something is submitted to the city for approval, and then once it gets approved, could already start influencing, the growth, because once those things are actually decided, then that's kind of the first indicator that we're gonna start seeing maybe some changes. Especially when there's gonna be, job opportunities that are gonna employ a lot of people. I know that Northrop Grumman on base, they pretty much shut down one of their locations in California and created 1,200 new jobs. That they're relocated all those people to Ogden. Do you think that is gonna have a little bit of an influence? Maybe not a huge change that we're gonna see overnight, but there's 1,200 more people, families, that are gonna need a home in Davis and Beaver County within probably 30 minutes of their job. So that's gonna have a little bit of influence. Especially if all those people were able to sell a home in California for $500,000 they made, can come here.
Gosh.
I mean, there's little things like that I think the important thing is, or really what I hope you can take away from is there are gonna be little lead indicators before we start seeing some of those results. And so the more we can just know what to look for and those signs, it's gonna help us kind of be the local expert. Right? Okay. But it may not happen, and we've talked about kind of obviously an increasing population of job demand, but there's probably other states that they're looking at the opposite, right? What happens in Detroit when all the automobile factories and stuff started shipping overseas and, losing, think about the opposite, losing thousands of jobs. What do you think that does to that market? Home prices when we've got now a larger unemployment rate somewhere. And those kind of things could happen potentially overnight. So I think the biggest thing is, there's economic factors to keep in mind that they can also. So our job is to really become kind of the expert. So it's important for us to just stay on top of those things and be able to foresee some of the changes there, so that we can feel confident answering questions for our clients and giving the best advice. And I wish we had a crystal ball, but there's going to be some things that we can say, most likely with some of the things we're seeing right now. If we're short 40,000 units in Utah for demand, what do we think most likely home prices are going to do over the next couple of years until we can keep up? Stuff like that. Just it's easier for us to have a conversation and make our clients feel more comfortable when we can look like the expert in all time. I think the easiest way is, especially if you know that you're going to be working in Davis County or Weber County, the more that you can just keep track of what's going on in the politics and some changes, new developments and things like that. It's easier to become an expert of a smaller area than to know everything that's going on across the state. So the more we can kind of focus on the area you want to work, it's easier for you to keep up and know what's we're a little bit lower, but we talked about a few different things here. But also when we talk about, we kind of talked about county, we can state county, but specific neighborhood. One of the things that I do, and it's kind of another part of my lead gen sources, is farming. Sorry. Which is kind of focusing on a specific neighborhood. So now we're talking about even tighter areas to become an expert of knowing how many homes in a neighborhood sell each year. What's the average turnover rate in a neighborhood? The more you know about local restaurants and stores and the community, really helps you become kind of the neighborhood or area expert. And so it's a lot easier to become an expert in a smaller area than trying to keep it. So that could be just a small part, is like, you could say, I'm going to choose to work in this area, kind of focus part of my attention on just really a specific neighborhood, for instance.
And you just do that by narrowing down the search criteria.
So it's a lot easier to walk into, let's just say, a listing appointment or have a great conversation at the open house you're doing for somebody, or one of your listings, when somebody walks in and then they start asking questions, and you can say, hey, you know what, the house just down the road sold for X amount, it's on the market for 6 days. Really kind of doing some research around, even if you're going to be doing an open house and then maybe not a listing appointment, but I would always say it's a great idea to look at some statistics, obviously, before you're going into a listing appointment, to kind of know what's going around. Because if somebody walks in and you can say, here's the average days on the market in the neighborhood, here's, just some of the statistics we've already talked about, it's going to really build your credibility to just have that information about, they're going to look for the expert that's going to be able to help them lead them to best price if you're working with a buyer, or opposite seller that can sell it for the most. I think it's important to just have a general idea of comps if you're going to be obviously selling it, but even on the buyer side, if you're going to an open house, it's nice to be able to have that information you can even share with the buyer. Anything sticks out, or any other questions on this part we've got to so far?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think like new apartment complexes affect like the areas?
I think that definitely does. I mean, if we look at the housing demand, right, if people can't afford a house, or maybe if there's more units available, even rental, that could be another indicator to watch for. And I'm sure if you've been in this area for a while, you've just seen more and more, multifamily going in. I think that's helping solve some of the problems, obviously, it's like the housing shortage and maybe is kind of relieving a little bit of pressure off the housing market. So that's, those type of things are definitely good to consider and know what's going on. I think even the rate that they're building that, I think there still is a high desire of home ownership. So some of the apartments that are maybe being built, are helping some people, but I still think that there's a lot of people who'd like to own a home in Utah, and that's solving some of the problem, but when it comes to homes that are for sale, I still think we're kind of behind where we need to be. But that's a great thing to obviously be aware of, because I think that's a lot of concern for a lot of people, but at the rate they're even building those, it's amazing to think that we still are not on track as far as the housing units we still need.
I just asked, I have a it's a Facebook group and for like my specific city.
Yeah.
And they'd rather buy a home somewhere where there isn't a lot of apartment complexes, because in my area, they just put up 3.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
And that's, I think that's the bad thing is the cities are looking at how do we solve this problem, right? We only have so much space. You look at the revenue that apartment's gonna bring in and all the people there, they're having to change things a little bit so that they are allowing higher density just to be able to keep up with the population growth, and they still get revenue from all the people that are gonna live there. So I know each cities kind of have different projections as far as what their like master plan is as far as allowing high density. But yeah, if you were to build a 4-story apartment behind someone's house, that could potentially change the desirability of that. So I know that you got the same people who are complaining about all these new homes going in, that are complaining about these apartments going in, they're complaining about home prices and, their kids are never going to be able to afford a place to live, but yet they don't want
High density.
more affordable places. It's like, it's hard to make everybody happy, obviously, but it's something to consider out.
It's definitely hard if they don't understand economics.
Yeah. Somebody said something great the other day, and it's like, okay, you're complaining about this, but how important is it for you to be able to see your kids and grandkids in 10 years when they're, their starter home price is gonna be outrageous if we don't have other solutions like condos, townhomes, apartments. What's the reality that your kids are gonna be able to afford to stay here if we don't see more things like that happen? So it's like, pick which one.
pick one.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a great point. Okay, we're gonna dive into this next section here. Anybody remember, I don't know if this is one of the other steps, but we talked about the 6 personal perspectives. Do you remember anything about that by any chance?
It was on Tuesday.
Like the 6 things you should do every day.
No, that's the success system, but the 6 personal perspectives were like, commit to self-mastery, be accountable. Do you guys remember all those?
So one that I would say kind of ties in with this is, I would say being learning based, being learning based the foundation of our action. This kind of just, again, learning based, it's always going to be something that changes, right? So I would say nobody can just master this and do this once, because we're talking about statistics and things that are constantly changing. So I think it's important to just make sure that we're always have the desire to keep learning and understanding. It's not just a one and done type thing. So knowing our market is really always going to change. But knowing the numbers is the first step, but understanding, interpreting it, and then applying that to what we do, our lead generation, and even just how to frame those conversations is kind of the next part. Is what do we do with the information once we have it? Next step, we'll kind of talk about how do we build that expertise into it. So we already talked about learning the market. Next part is learning our clientele. I'm not sure which page are we on right now.
3.6, maybe.
Yeah.
once we know our market, the next part, I think it's important, is going to where the people are, right? Talking with them, sharing this information. They're obviously gonna be our potential clients. More importantly, listening to them and really trying to kind of interpret what their understanding of the market is. So instead of just coming up and saying, here's how it is, here's what it is, I think it's important to ask questions to kind of, to feel what their interpretation or understanding of the market is, and maybe even kind of asking the right questions to maybe challenge that a little bit and kind of having them kind of re-question or consider what their views are. Like asking the right questions, delivering the information in the right way. So one of the things that I'm sure is pretty common right now that we're hearing buyers say is interest rates are so high, we're just gonna wait. So I think having the right understanding of the market and the right question you can ask to maybe kind of change their perception of the market a little bit by saying, okay, well, if you want to wait till rates go down, how far would they need to go down before you'd be comfortable buying a house? Okay, 3%. Okay, well, what happens if rates did go to 3%? What do you think is going to happen to the price if we have that many more people, they're thinking the same thing you are, they're gonna wait till interest rates go down. What do you think is gonna happen to home prices when that happens? They're gonna kind of make them question maybe, their thought pattern a little bit. So I think just asking great questions is also a very important piece of this, because then you're not necessarily being confrontational, you're maybe just challenging them in, a more logical way to where they came up with that thought. So it's important to kind of know where they are and what their thoughts are so that we can really best help them and maybe kind of reframe that reality of how we can help them. So I think learning our clientele and kind of what their thoughts are also another piece that's equally important to be able to challenge them without being confrontational necessarily. And then you're going to build credibility when you can kind of deliver the information we have. Because their hairdresser or their best friend's uncle or wherever they're getting their real estate advice from, or the news, is probably the worst source that they're going to get that. But that's where most people, I think we kind of do not as good of a job as we should as real estate agents, being the ones that are actually giving the right information. It's like the news headlines and all the other things where people are getting information from, just like everywhere else. It's hard to know what's real and what's not, but if that's what they think is real, that's their reality, then how do we kind of overcome that and really bring our expertise to the table? Next part is when we talk about language of real estate, knowing our business when it comes down to even just kind of tracking some of the statistics, so we know kind of what changes. We already talked about learning clientele. And also where they're getting information. So we kind of already covered some of these. And as your business starts to grow, I think it's also important kind of when we know, talking about knowing the market numbers, it's also important to know our own numbers. It kind of comes down to, listing appointment. We could say, okay, well, the average home in your neighborhood has been on the market for 26 days before it goes under contract. My average is 14 days, right? So once you start kind of having, success, it's going to be easier to use that information. Or as a new agent, it's great to lean into the office and say, our office, the average list price, to sales price ratio is X amount. So lean on the office statistics when it comes down to, all those type of statistics until you have, the point where you're confident enough and you track your own that you can kind of use your own numbers. But I think the other piece is kind of knowing how our office is outperforming the market by %. Or we have more listings in Weber and Davis County than that brokerage right now. There's a lot of things like that we're going to be able to use as an office and whole that's gonna kind of help tell our story. I think that's kind of the piece when we talk about language of real estate, how do we tell that story? What our statistics look like, besides just the market statistics, but our own personal or our office. What time do we have? How long do we have?
You're.
No,
How much time do you want, Dalton?
no,
Honestly, the value one,
It's pretty quick.
it's shorter.
Yeah.
It's shorter, so if you run a little bit longer. I don't know about these.
You're close though.
So talk a little bit about kind of the resources, how to get this stuff a little bit, right? So one of the things we can share with is obviously our command app. Our market statistics right here. There's some really cool things that we can utilize in here when it talks about just kind of automating some of these things. One of the things I love to set my clients up on is it's called I think it's the bi-week or the bi-monthly.
We do the monthly neighborhood.
The
nurture.
monthly
That's what I
neighborhood
teach you in
nurture.
coaching.
So the monthly neighborhood nurture, I think it's a great thing because then, you know, once you put them in their address, you can make it so that they're automatically getting maybe an email or something from you once a month that will show kind of what's going on. Maybe better resource than what they're seeing on the news or hearing from the neighbor. So we definitely have a lot of resources when it comes to that. Social media is a great way. I'm kind of talking about how we deliver this information, you know, obviously making videos, having conversations, posting things on social media. That's some really good strategies as far as how often and what we want to post here. So social media is a great way to kind of share it and connecting with our market. But I think just putting something together and setting a goal. I know it's a little overwhelming to do all of these things. I'm kind of taking it in, but I would say here's a few other things that you can do that are going to just help kind of improve our market knowledge and how to deliver the message. But really just, I think a big one on here, just getting out and doing something, right? Taking action. Going to open houses, you're gonna learn just from experience. So I wouldn't be afraid of, you know, just starting somewhere, taking action, and it'll slowly just, you're gonna get more and more comfortable. I won't dive too much into this. This is obviously the daily success system as far as some of the activities you should do. And then just like all these, we're going to talk about making sure that we're following all of the consumer action. We can't obviously contact people that are on the do not call list. So make sure you're be aware of that.
If you get sued, it's your lawsuit, not ours. They made that very clear.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty. I mean, we're just diving.
We role played before.
Okay.
When you
Anybody have any other questions? I guess as I'm wrapping up, or anything that maybe that stood out to you.
Allison mentioned that she said that her biggest compliment to you was how you kept your systems basically, and how you did a few kind of adjustments or whatnot. What would you say your most beneficial system that you have for yourself on a daily basis that kind of keeps you?
That's a deep
I would
question.
say,
I don't even wanna go if he's gonna ask.
That's awesome. Like it. I would say take advantage of your database. It really blows me away that there's a lot of agents that operate without a system, right? They're just like, you know, their database, maybe their phone book in their phone, or maybe some index cards.
Or social media.
Sticky note, or yeah, so it can get really messy, and I think the more you can have a system that's organized and know when you've talked to people, who they are, what that audience is, and I would really suggest using tags. That's probably the easiest way. And it maybe seem like a small thing right now, and maybe your database isn't huge and you have thousands of people, but as your business grows and you get in that habit now, doing that kind of stuff and tagging people, it's gonna be a lot easier to connect with them. So
When you say tags, you're referring to like just those extra tidbits
Yeah.
of personal
so
information
the
about
buyer.
them.
buyer, seller, lead,
Here, yeah.
like fast forwarding, almost 10 years down the road, well, I'd say 6 years of really using a database pretty consistently since I came to Keller Williams. It's really nice to be able to pull up past clients or people that have referred me or people who've come to an event. I mean, every single thing that I do or invite somebody to, I usually look at a great tag. So I know people in a specific neighborhood. So now when I send out that message, I can be really specific to that kind of niche and connect with them. Instead of just blasting out something that's maybe not relevant to everybody, I can send a message that said, hey, because you've been referred people to me in the past, I'm gonna enter you into this drawing that I'm doing. And so just being able to kind of sort through that stuff and know which year, the clients work with you, or just using kind of more of those tags of met at an open house, or it's going to make you just be able to deliver that message and kind of find those people a lot easier, and then just kind of using reminders inside that system for following. This is helpful.
He mentioned like when your business grows, it's hard to keep track of without a database, but I watch it, your business won't grow without a database that you're dialed in on. And you want to take the notes on the people, because how many people can you actually have a conversation with and then remember what you talked to them about 3 months down the road? So have notes on what you're having conversations about so you can re-bring that up. Like, how was your trip to the Bahamas you were going on in the summer or whatever?
You probably heard fortunes in the follow-up before it. I can't tell you how accurate that is. I mean, you talked about, I've got great systems. Everybody's human, right? And we always get busy and things, but I'll tell you just real example. I met somebody last year that said they want to sell their home once their daughter graduates this year. I put it in my database to call them 2 months, or I think maybe a month ago or something. I said it so just right before school ended, I was going to follow up with him. I hit snooze on that reminder. I called him yesterday and he's like, oh, that's so funny you called. Guess what? We just listed our house. Oh. I've been following up with him for 3
Did you list it?
What do you mean?
No. I can't tell you. I mean, I have a half dozen of those stories too, if you guys wanna.
Yeah.
So database and those reminders are key. And if I didn't
Take 'em
have that,
serious.
I would be so lost. So having that system and it's organized way to.
And Command has it all organized for
So
you.
that's the beauty of that. So if I give you one tip, just start using database from day one and just keep it as organized as possible. Thank you. Absolutely.
Is there more slides?
I think that's the last one. I figured.
Any other questions for Mikkel? Do you guys think that was valuable? It's kind of a lot of information about numbers, right?
I would say the other thing is if you guys, if any of you have any questions about anything we went over, one thing I really love about Keller Williams, and probably most agents here are going to be willing to answer any questions. So my office is right down the hall, or I'm sure most people that you run into here are going to be happy to help you. So I know it can seem a little overwhelming, but if you ever have any questions, feel free to ask me or probably any agent you see would be happy to kind of walk through some stuff. Kudos to you guys for being here and wanting to learn. Sure, if you keep plugging into the stuff, I'll do awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Okay, do you guys, let's take a little 5-minute break. You guys can use the restrooms. There's some down this hall and there's some down that hall. If you guys are wanting.
Oh.